everybody, it's the Sibling Politics, and welcome back to another video. And we are going to talk about the legislative branch, and so y'all are wondering what that is, and I think it's the Senate
and the House.
The
and both of those together are the Congress.
Do you know what the Congress is?
It's a house.
Close enough. Do you know what they do?
They work.
Sometimes. Very rarely. And very rarely together.
The House and the Senate make up the Congress, which in turn is the legislative branch, which is one of the three branches that we will be covering. The legislative branch is the branch that creates the laws. Okay? So, like, what's a law?
It's something you have to
give me an example.
If you run a red light.
Okay. Yeah, you can't run red lights.
Now, for simplicity's sake, we're going to be covering the legislative, judicial, and executive branches. This is the legislative one. We're not going to be covering state legislations in this video because that's just too complicated. So, you have the House and the Senate. You know what those guys are?
They're friends?
No, not really. Do you notice a major difference between the two?
This one's a House and this one is a Senate.
Any other differences?
It sounds like the Senate is a person.
No. The House and the Senate are two different governing bodies because back when the United States was founded, there was two different ideas on who should be represented. Some people believe that the state should be represented based on their population. Others believe the state should be represented based on just being a state. So the House and the Senate were created out of this idea. The House has 435 representatives who represent their constituents in each state respectively. Now California has the most people in the House, which I think is 55.
That's because it has a very high population. And even though Alaska is the biggest state, it has some of the least amount of representatives in the House, because the House is based off of population.
However, if we move to the Senate is just two
senators from each state.
So, do you know who our two senators are?
Nikki Haley?
No, Nikki Haley was our governor, but not anymore. But no, our two
senators are Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott.
So, senators
create laws, and the House creates laws. And generally, you have to get something passed in the House and the Senate to eventually end up on the president's desk. Now,
currently in the House, there are
240 Republicans and 194
Democrats. That's a lot of people, isn't it?
Yes.
Those together make 435. Sound cool?
Yeah.
Now, very rarely will you ever have a tie in the House, mainly due to the fact that it's just a lot of people. But the Senate, on the other hand, is different. The Senate can have ties because it's only 100 people. Now, you know who presides over the Senate? Like who reigns over it, basically?
No.
It is the Vice President. The Vice President is the President of the Senate. He is there to break ties, which currently, if you look at the Senate thing, we have 52 Republicans and 46 Democrats. And I know what you're thinking, that is not, that does not equal 100. I think two of them, one's up for re-election right now, and, well, one of the seats is vacant, and then currently John McCain is kind of out and about. So, because each one of these gets elected on different cycles. So, you'll always have some representatives from your state in the House, and at least one senator from your state in the Senate. So, the Senate can have ties. The current majority leader in the Senate is Mitch McConnell, who looks like a turtle. And I don't know who the Democratic leader is. But the Republicans, the people that have the most, which currently is the Republicans, are called the majority. The people that have the least are the minority. So, there is in rough the House and the Senate, aka the legislative branch. They pass laws, or they make laws. They also are the people who decide how much funding goes to what. And they have the power of the purse, which basically means that they're the people that tell where the money goes. So, any other questions?
No.
Okay, awesome. Like and subscribe.
And we will see you in the next video.